watching Geek Out RC, and today we're going to be taking a look at my Traxxas Revo brushless conversion. Alright, so today we're going to be taking a look at a build that was inspired by one of the projects that RC Car Action did. The original Revo released in 2004 as a nitro-only platform with Traxxas' legendary 2.5 engine in it. In 2006, the truck saw some revisions and the inclusion of a 3.3 engine for more power. Then in 2008, Traxxas took what they learned from 6 national championships and wrapped it all up in the Platinum Edition. Well, the Platinum Edition was definitely purpose-built for the racetrack. It had a forward-only transmission, a front, center, and a rear diff that you could tune with oil. Had different preload springs right in the box to tune your shocks. You could buy different rockers for the cantilever suspension to adjust that. Front and rear sway bars. It also included a secondary set of sway bars in the box. And you could adjust the wheelbase. High downforce wing in the rear that was adjustable. So, built with the racer in mind, but needless to say, a lot of people bought them for their backyard too. Now, as popular as nitro vehicles were in the early 2000s, with the introduction of lithium polymer batteries and brushless motor systems, electric vehicles were starting to take off. And there was a lot of vehicles that people wanted an electric version of, and the company didn't offer it yet. And the Revo was one of those vehicles. Everybody wanted an electric version. And Tekno RC stepped up to the plate and they made a conversion kit for the Revo. So you could pull the nitro engine out of it and strap in a nice big electric motor and a lithium battery. Now, in the May of 2008 RC Car Action, they did just that. They took a regular Revo and bought the Tekno RC electric conversion kit for it. Picked up a carbon fiber Vantage racing chassis, and they built their own electric Revo. It just so happens in that very same issue, Traxxas announced the Platinum Edition Revo. Just before they went to the printing presses with that issue, Traxxas made their announcement, so they squeezed an announcement in, and there's actually a full 2-page spread ad in there for the Revo Platinum Edition. Now, I can't even tell you how many hours I spent staring at the issue of RC Car Action with this truck in it, rereading the article, going over the parts list, adding up the expense, and I was just in love with the truck and decided I had to build one. I purchased this truck on eBay. It was brand new. Somebody had stripped all the electronics out, the throttle servo, the 2 steering servos. They took the engine, the pipe, all the stuff that I didn't really care about anyways, they took out of it. And I was able to purchase a Platinum Edition, just a rolling chassis for my conversion. Now, RC Car Action's build used Novak Racing's high voltage brushless motor system. The HV, I think they used a 6.5 turn high voltage brushless motor system. I purchased this same motor system for my build. Unfortunately, I had a lot of glitching issues and trouble with it. I was using an FM radio initially, a JR Racing XR3 FM radio, and I switched over to my first ever 2.4 gigahertz by Spectrum, the DX2S, and I still had issues with glitches and problems with that Novak Racing system. The body on the project truck was painted by Bill Zegers of Zegers RC Graphics. Bill painted a lot of stuff for RC Car Action over the years, and I absolutely loved the Iron Man Ivan Stewart paint scheme on here, and I really wanted it to match. I didn't have the abilities to paint back then. I didn't have any experience at all. So I contacted Zegers RC Graphics, shipped the body off to him, told him I wanted to match the project truck that he had painted for the magazine, and he painted one up for me. I tried to mimic the RC Car Action build as closely as possible, but quite a few things ended up a lot different than theirs. As I mentioned, the Platinum Edition was announced in the very issue that they showed off their project truck. So I was able to pick up a Platinum Edition that had a lot of the extras that they had to buy separately. I did run the Novak HV Pro initially, as I mentioned, had the glitching issues. So I switched that out to this Castle Creations Mamba Monster 2. It's 6S capable. I've never run anything but 4S in here, and I've broken a lot of stuff running 4S, so I would imagine 6S would just destroy things all the quicker. This was a nitro truck. It was built as a nitro truck. It was built to handle the power of a nitro truck, so to strap 6S LiPo in here, you're just asking for problems. Now, the suggested gearing chart that came with this truck was for a nitro engine, so running a brushless motor system, I had no idea what to run the gearing at. When I got to a point where I could consistently run battery packs without breaking something, I decided the gearing was good right there. The motor temperature was reasonable and nothing was overheating. I think the truck will still do around 50-55 miles per hour, as I mentioned, and that's plenty fast enough to have a really good time. The Tekno RC brushless motor conversion also included a gadget for using the nitro clutch bell on there, and you could change your clutch shoes and springs for additional tuning. And I didn't care for that setup, so I left that out. I did a direct drive. This was a 2-speed transmission back in the day, and it was a forward-only transmission because this was built to be a race truck. With the brushless motor strapped in here, I quickly disintegrated that 2-speed mechanism. There was a mod out at the time where you could screw first and second gear together and do away with the 2-speed and just lock it in second gear, and that also gave you reverse. So that was the mod that I chose to do. It wasn't too long after that I started taking teeth off the plastic gears inside the center transmission. So I then switched up and bought all Robinson Racing hardened steel gears for that center transmission, and I've never had another issue since. Another problem I was having was the drive shafts. The factory drive shafts from Traxxas were giant plastic units, and again, they may have held up fine for nitro use, but with a brushless motor and LiPo strapped in, I was making short work of them. I was destroying them. When I purchased the Vantage Racing carbon fiber chassis, I also got the blue exo cage for underneath for the driveline protection, and they sold steel drive shafts. So I picked up a set, 2 for the center to go to the front and rear axles, and then the 4 drive shafts out to the wheels. And I ran those for a little while, and I ended up breaking those as well. So I finally turned directly to Traxxas for their hardened steel drive shafts, and I put those in, and I have not had another problem since, thankfully. The Tekno RC conversion mounts the radio box where one of the steering servos went, so I had to remove one steering servo, go down to a single. This is a Futaba BLS 452, I believe, brushless servo. This servo was only rated for 6 volts and 194 inches of torque. This is circa 2008. Things have changed a lot since then, but it was a good servo back then. The RC car action build, they used RPM components for the suspension arms and the uprights. I left all the factory Traxxas TRX stuff on here. The Tekno RC electric conversion kit also included a nice anodized aluminum plate that mounted to the top side of your center transmission and made a little shelf to stick your electronic speed control to. So that was a nice little feature of that brushless conversion kit. My Spectrum radio had telemetry, which was the first time I had ever had anything with telemetry. It came with a temperature sensor, and it was for nitro engines, but I was able to stick that to my Castle Mamba Monster motor and get accurate Fahrenheit temperature readings right on my radio. The radio also came with a little chrome dot sticker that you could put to typically your flywheel or your clutch bell on a nitro engine. In this case, I stuck it to one of the center drive shafts, and you could mount a sensor and calibrate it for miles per hour, and I could get a fairly accurate speed reading on my Spectrum radio as well. As a finishing touch for the build, I picked up one of Traxxas's Exo carbon wings. It's not a true carbon fiber wing, it's got some type of a plastic coating on it. Looked the part, looked really good initially, and you know, I built this truck to drive and have fun with it. And after you cartwheel this across blacktop and through your lawn and somersault it and put a lot of stress on that wing, that carbon fiber coating started to crack and come right off. You can probably notice it in some of the videos and pictures here. At the time of this filming, I've decided I'm probably going to retire this truck. Some of you eagle-eyed viewers may have noticed that these tires, these white dish wheels and the Response Pro tires, some of the video I've included in here, the clips, show some Proline Badlands tires. Those were my tire of choice for running, especially in the lawn, for more grip. These Response Pros and white dish wheels, these were made, as I say, you know, for the track. And it did fine in the grass, but I saw somebody else's Revo with those Proline Badlands. It reminded me of a motocross knobby. Really aggressive, just a really nice looking wheel and tire, pre-glued from Proline. Those were my tire of choice for all the years that I've driven this. As of this point in time, the last incident was an exploded rear diff. The truck laid in pieces on my workbench for over a year before I finally got around to rebuilding it. And at this point, it's getting a little bit harder to find some of the parts, and it's such a unique build and something that I've grown fond of, and I think it's going to be retired. Probably get disassembled, get cleaned up, and probably just enjoy the remainder of its days as a display piece. But it's been an incredible truck, a lot of fun over the years. It's gotten a lot of use, a lot of entertainment, a lot of enjoyment. I'm happy to have shared it with you guys. I hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you'll come back to the channel and see some more of my videos. Thanks for watching.